One of the most basic things management is supposed to do with employees is to give them things to do and then understand the status of those things. Super basic. But over the 30 years that I've been managing teams and working with thousands of business owners, I can tell you this. It's rare to find a manager who actually knows what to ask when they're getting a status update from their team. The most common answer employees give when something is wrong is everything's okay. And most managers just nod and move on. Big mistake. A good manager knows how to dig deeper, knows how to ask the kind of questions that reveal the truth behind the status. If you're not one of those managers yet, that's okay. Here's the bare minimum that you can do when employee says everything's okay or everything's on track. Don't just take it at face value. Repeat what they said and ask them to explain it. For example, if I ask Josh about a project and he says everything's on track, I will say, that's awesome. What does that mean? Now, let's say that he will say, the project's supposed to be finished in 3 months and everything's on track. I will ask, can you give me some more details about what you're working right now? And is the current milestone still on track? Based on that answer, I will ask more questions. Because here's the truth. Humans don't like to come up with problems. Subconsciously, they see it as a failure, even though it's not their fault in most cases. And in some cases, they really need some help, and if they would ask it, they would be able to progress the project. Let me give you a real example. A company we know was working with Salesforce as their CRM. They decided to migrate to a different CRM. The project was planned to take 6 months in total. 3 months for development, 1 month for data migration, and 2 months for QA testing and training. The development team, and by the way, it wasn't us, was in charge of building this new system. They had weekly meetings with the customer, and during those meetings, they always said things like everything's okay, everything on track, we work on the leads, we work on the contacts, whatever it is. It was all vague and general answers. But from what we found later, management didn't really understand the project in details. They only knew it at a high level. And because of that, they didn't know what questions to ask. 3 months later, the project wasn't delivered. The Salesforce migration that's supposed to start stopped. And the new CRM was not even close to be ready. The customer tried to work with the vendor for another month and a half until it became clear that the project was completely off track. That's when they looked for a new vendor and eventually hired my team to review the status of the system. And what we found was it wasn't even close to being functional. At that point, the client had to renew their Salesforce agreement, which cost them around $50,000 in licenses. And that's on top of the $65,000 that they paid the vendor for the failed implementation. All of that could be avoided if management had asked the right questions early on. So here's the lesson. It's your job as a manager to come up with the questions that reveal the real status of the project before it becomes a disaster, and then it forces you to put your red underwear and save the day.